Pakistanis are voting to form their new government, but the elections are marred by allegations of poll rigging and blasts. Meanwhile, Pakistan has temporarily suspended mobile services. However, right ahead of the elections, the country was rocked by twin blasts in Balochistan and Karachi, claiming at least 30 lives and leaving several injured. But these elections are being held amid rigging claims, economic crisis, and militant attacks. With former Prime Minister Imran Khan in jail, Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League is tipped to emerge as the single largest party in the elections. Imran Khan's PTI candidates are contesting the polls independently after the Supreme Court upheld the decision of the Election Commission to deprive the party of its iconic election symbol cricket bat. Nawaz Sharif will be eyeing the premiership for a record fourth time in this election. All right, so that is, of course, the latest as far as Pakistan going in to elect their new government is concerned. Essentially, of course, voting has begun to elect a new government, but remember, the former Prime Minister Imran Khan is in jail. What we're also learning as far as how this is panning out is Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz, the PMLN, is tipped to emerge as the single largest party in the elections. To better understand this and what they make of the political situation as well, I'm being joined in by my guest this afternoon, Veena Sikri, former ambassador, and Fakhar Yousafzai, senior journalist. Good afternoon to the both of you. Thank you very much for taking the time out. Ms. Sikri, let me begin with you. Given the fact that we've seen so much of political turmoil in Pakistan, how do we really see these elections pan out for the country?
It's very clear that the election process in Pakistan is being controlled by the army. And in fact, rather than elections, you could call it a selection process, because it seems almost a predetermined conclusion that former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will once again be allowed to become the Prime Minister. But we have to recall that even when he was Prime Minister in the previous times, and even all the Prime Ministers of Pakistan in the past 75 years, let's not forget that they only had their first general election in 1970, 23 years after they got independence. So all Prime Ministers, none of them have completed their term. Each of them, their terms have been cut short, invariably by the army process, by some dissatisfaction, some disagreement. Even in the beginning, where we saw former Prime Minister Imran Khan, he was the candidate of the army and known to be the candidate of the army. But of course, he was very popular. And at some point, he just fell out with the army. And we know that on many issues, he thought that his popularity would carry him through. But that was not to be. And it is the army which calls the shots on these processes. So it's something that is being held in the routine course. It's something that we do know that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is selected to come back as Prime Minister. But what that will mean for economic development of Pakistan, for economic growth of Pakistan, for relations between Pakistan and India, those issues are very much still up in the air, because we do not know how much freedom Nawaz Sharif will have to decide on these issues. And certainly the army, by bringing him back, intends once again to control the shots, because they felt compelled to oust former Prime Minister Imran Khan because of the disagreements that he had with them, what he'd said about various issues, particularly on relations with America and so on. So in short, I would like to say that this selection process is once again playing out in Pakistan, but what it will mean for the very dire economic situation that Pakistan is in is uncertain. There is a kind of dissatisfaction among the people of Pakistan, disappointment as that they are not being allowed to express their free will. And we do know that even former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party has been broken up. The party has been banned, but some elements in his party have been allowed to form another political party, and they are contesting the elections. So it's a tired process, I would say. Let us see what happens after it.
All right, Ms. Sikri, as you make those essential opening remarks, of course, you've gone on to call it not an election, but a selection process. Mr. Yousafzai, you heard what Ms. Sikri had to say. But let's also, understand, given the situation that Pakistan is, what is the mood of people like? What are we expecting on that front? Because we do know what we've seen in the past couple of months, especially after former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has been jailed.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting. And as Ms. Veena said, that this is not election but selection. I think so. Mostly Pakistani consider this election is as a selection. As you people know, that leader of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is behind the bar from last couple of months, and he has a big fan following in Pakistan. You can say that this is a leading a political party of Pakistan, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. And when Nawaz Sharif make a deal with the establishment, and the people are saying that he will be a next prime minister, it's decided before the election. So of course, we can say that nobody can consider it a proper or free and fair election. I think so. You will know about it that the internet and broadband mobile services is suspended in Pakistan on the election day from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Karachi and Balochistan and Punjab, everywhere, every corner of Pakistan, which make it more. You can say that the people are saying that it's a free poll rigging, and the different candidates of the different party are also making their concerns because yesterday from Pakistan Telecommunication Authority and the Interior Minister said that there will be no suspension of internet on the election day, but nobody knows that who is suspend all these services and things like that. And the most important thing is the PTI candidates were cornered by the establishment. Of course, they didn't make a proper election campaign. Even they were not allowed to make corner meetings or things like that or other gatherings. Their leader is behind the bar, but their slogan of the bad was also not given to them. These all things, I think so, all the Pakistani know about it, and the role of the establishment in the Pakistani politics. The people are very clear about it. If Nawaz Sharif is become a prime minister in this election in 2024, of course, he will face so many problems. The economic crisis Pakistan is facing from last couple of years, and the second thing is the role of the establishment and the one page of the political government and between the establishment or the Pakistan army. It's very tough for every prime minister and for every party to how to run their government in Pakistan, especially relation with the neighboring countries or make their foreign policy. This is a very difficult thing in Pakistan. Because if establishment will not allow Nawaz Sharif for make a good relation with the India or the Afghanistan or Iran or the other country in the world, he will not allow to do that. These are all things I think so who will become a prime minister of Pakistan. He will face all these things. And the third thing is the security problem. TTPs are taking the military forces and the people of Pakistan from last 2 years. These are all challenges, I think so. If Nawaz Sharif has become a prime minister or Bilawal or someone else, he will face all these challenges. And I think so this is not an easy job for everyone as a prime minister or as a leading a political party in Pakistan.
All right. All right, Mr. Yousafzai, you've of course pointing out the challenges as well, and that was actually going to be my next question to Ms. Sikri. Ms. Sikri, of course, given the political situation, essentially, no matter which government is elected now, they do have a lot of challenges put forth in front of them, especially at a time where we've seen so much of economic crisis in Pakistan. And a difference of leadership, do you think, would actually make the ultimate difference for that country?
I don't think so, because we do know, yes, as my co-panelist said quite correctly, Pakistan has been in dire economic straits for almost 2 years now. But the government, even of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, never either thought about it or could not implement the necessary measures that were needed. The harsh decisions, the reforms that were needed were never implemented. And even when Pakistan went to the IMF and got the loan sanctioned, but the conditions that were to be fulfilled at each stage of sanctioning of the money and arrival of the money in Pakistan, many of those have not been fulfilled. So it is quite to be expected that the economic crisis will continue unless the new Prime Minister decides to take some very firm steps. But again, as we do know, those steps will have to be taken in consultation with the army, with the institution that brought the next prime minister to power, or about to bring the next prime minister to power. So whether the army is willing to take those very strong steps, reforms, etc., which will, of course, inflict more difficulty on the people in terms of inflation, in terms of even maybe may affect the availability because imports will become more difficult. So all those things are very much to be seen, and I'm sure the people of Pakistan are yearning for a better economic situation. We do see, for example, in Sri Lanka, which faced a similar economic crisis, but they have taken the decisions and they are gradually, of course, they have received the IMF loan and they are gradually coming out of the problems, even though it's a long process, but they are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. In Pakistan, at the moment, there is no such light at the end of the tunnel. And, there is this huge question of the debt that Pakistan owes to China, and the implications of this debt on Pakistan's overall indebtedness and Pakistan's overall economic crisis. It's not a small amount. It's an amount which affects the overall debt. And IMF itself had to insist that China would have to reschedule some of the debts before they would give that loan to Pakistan. Now, whether that process will continue or whether China is going to extract another pound of flesh, because like they did for Hambantota in Sri Lanka, all these are a lot of uncertainties hanging over the future steps that Pakistan will take. In international relations, we do know, for example, the situation with Iran is very difficult because there was firing from both sides. People have died at the Iranian-Pakistan border, and whether that situation will come under control after the election is to be seen. The situation with India, as we know, we have been seeing attempts by Pakistan to attempt infiltration of terrorists, non-state actors actively supported by the army, which is the only institution allowed to be at the India-Pakistan border. So they are trying to push in infiltrators and terrorists even through the international boundary, over and above what has been happening at the LOC. So whether this process will continue, whether they will decide to be more good neighborly, be more aware and more serious about India's very strong statement that we can have talks with Pakistan only if the terrorism stops, only if the cross-border terrorism stops. So, will the new leader take this
Right,
on
Ms.
board?
Sikri, I'd have to
Will the
interject you
army
there,
allow that
but
to be
as you pointed out, there are many challenges, but of course, one can only hope that the situation for them would only get better. But on that note, I want to thank you, as well as Mr. Yousafzai, for taking the time out and joining us here this afternoon to share with us your perspective as to how you think this will potentially pan out for the country. But